Hey guys, we got MCanning here coming at you with another guide. This time it is going to be a hotkey, very basic hotkey tutorial type of guide. How to hotkey, why you should hotkey, and if you're a new player or your hotkeys aren't that great, this would be a good video for you. So I'm going to just jump right into it here. Reasons why you hotkey, the most important reason, and probably one of the best ways. In my opinion, it is the biggest way you can become a better player. The fastest track to become a better player is hotkeying. So look at my army here. Think about it. Like when you are hotkeying your army, right? And like imagine you're in gold or plat, and you have to box, and there's a drop over here, and you have to mouse wheel over, and your army's not hotkeyed, so you have to box it, and you have to come over here. What I'd like you to keep in mind is, like, let's say you have 60 APM, 70 APM, 30 APM. You have limited APM. In the heat of the moment, in a big fight, in a fight where there's a drop in your main, maybe he's attacking at your front, you don't want to have your mouse. This is the biggest thing. You never want your mouse to be, boxing over your army, or your mouse should never enter the bottom right of your screen. Your mouse is something that, like, let's say there's a drop going on and he's attacking your front. If you're spending time to bring your mouse here, to warp in stalkers, to make an upgrade, something like that, it's so bad for you. Like, you can be so much more efficient if you're just warping in and going. Now, what I'd like to talk about is how I hotkey and why I hotkey. So maybe you're not sure, what you should hotkey, how you should hotkey. The way I like to think of it is, the way I did it when I did my hotkeys, back in Wings of Liberty in 2010, I still have the same hotkeys today. So this is an ability that will stick with you through and through, is, what buttons are close to each other. So I started with, if I could do it over, I'd make my Nexus like 4 or 5 as my main hotkey. But like when you look down your keyboard, everyone, I guess I can blow this up here. Right here, I'll blow it up for you guys. When you look at your keyboard, like look at where the probe is. I'll just bring it over here. Oh god. You see my Nexus here, 3, very close to the E key, right? 3E, 3E. So what happens is, they're just very close to each other, very easy to hit as hotkeys. And you got to think about, like, why is it 1A? Because 1 and A are right next to each other. Now, that's basically, these are all my hotkeys I do in a normal game. So 1 is my army hotkey, because 1 is closest to A, right? That's why it's not, 6A. As when people say 1A move, it's because 1 is usually going to be your army because it's the closest button to A. So when you're thinking about doing your hotkeys, try to have it like that. 2 is like my, my secondary part of my army. It's my secondary part of my army. My Stalkers, my Phoenix, maybe an Oracle. It will change sometimes throughout the game, but like 1 and 2, like if I could do it over again, I would recommend making 4 or 5 your Nexus to open up your first 3 to 4 spots for army hotkeys. Like that's what's really important, because right now, okay, I'll just go through it real quick. 1 is my main army. 2 is part of my army, right? In this case, it's my Stalkers. 3 is all my Nexuses, or Nexi. 4 is kind of annoying for me. It's my sentries, and it's been this way forever. I've changed it out a little bit now. Eventually I'll get Tempest in the very late game, but for the most part it's just my sentry hotkey, and it's kind of painful. But if you think about it, 4 is close to F, right? 4 is close to F on my keyboard, so I was like, that would be a good one for sentries, right? 1 is close to A, 2 is close to A, and that's why 3 would be really nice because it's close to A, but 3 is my Nexus because it's close to E, and then 5 is my High Templar or Disruptor. Now I don't like to make them both at the same time, but 5 is both of them, so I don't try to make them at the same time, but 5 is either my Disruptors or my Templar. It was only my Templar for a very long time because Storm is T, right? So like 5T, 5T, you know what I mean? They're right next to each other, and also it's good because 5 is V, right? Disruptors are on V, so very, very close, very easy to hit. 6 is actually my Robobay for Immortals. This is how I did it. 6 is close to I. Is kind of just how I did it, because everything else, I think it's the best when you have your armies in the very front, right? See, my army is 1, 2, 4, and 5 is my army hotkeys. You could have it 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it'd be a lot easier for you. And there is another method I'd like to talk about, is the tab method, where you have all these spellcasters, and what you can do is you can have them all in one hotkey, and you can see, if you press tab, it goes through all your spellcasters, like this, right? All the spellcasters till the last one, and there's priorities. So High Templar will always take the priority unless there's a mothership. When there's not a mothership core, a mothership. So when you swoop all these over, the first thing you can do is Storm. And look, you tab, mothership. and then you tab again, Sentry, tab again, Disruptor. Those are like something you need to know if you want to go for the tab, right? Let's say you don't want to, like, let's say you're like, I can't do all these hotkeys, which I would recommend you try to learn. Separate hotkeying can make things very, very good for you, and it's just very efficient. But some great players do use the tab method, and it's a situation where you get used to it, but you tab, 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 and you figure everything out. And there are preferences, right? So every single time you take an army, like let's say you have like when it's late game, what I'll do when I have disruptors in Storm is I will hotkey my disruptors only, and then I know that when I'm 1Aing, right, my Templar is in it, and I can just storm because they have preference, right? They have preference, they can storm, and I can still use my disruptor hotkey, right? That's something that's pretty important. Also, another thing is I'd like to touch on is using different keys as well. Right now, my Mothership Core and also my Stargates on 7, these are just kind of your buildings at the end, right? You can go anywhere. You should make building hotkeys. You can also, some people will put these together, and you can tab as well. Look, I could hotkey this on 6, and I could tab through and go to Stargate, right? You can just tab back and forth. Some people do that. But like I have my you can re-hotkey things. I have my Mothership Core on Tilda. Actually, look at this. See, like I've re-hotkeyed it. Like look, Tilda brings me to another Mothership Core. Also, spacebar brings me to my 9 hotkey. So you can go into your hotkeys and mess around with it and apply them to a better spot, maybe on the left-hand side of your keyboard where it's much easier. And the Q is my Select All Army hotkey. Now, this is a pretty big point. Some of you guys will only use the Select All Army hotkey, and the Select All Army hotkey can be good. It can be good. But if you are a person that only uses Select All Army hotkey, I would disable it for the time being and bring it back when you're not hooked on it. It is okay sometimes when you have units scrambled. Maybe it's the last fight. You think you need all your units to come and attack. It can be useful. It can. But if you're only using F2, especially as a Protoss player, you can get away with it with some of these other races. But as Protoss, you really can't get away with it. It's something where you really got to try to get away from. It's going to take you some time, and you will lose some games, but it is better to get away from using the Select All Army hotkey as a Protoss player. I would also like to show you how to hotkey, at least the way I hotkey. There are a couple ways to hotkey. So let's say I want to make this my first hotkey, right? I press Control, Shift. Well, I usually press Shift because I always am adding Shift into it but Control 1 will do it. Look, Control 1. Okay, I press 2. But Control 2 is now my hotkey, and you can bounce back to it. And if you want to add something, I like to hold Shift. There's 2 ways to add something to a hotkey. So let's say I want to add these 3 gateways to the hotkey. I can either press Control and Shift, although if you're holding Control and Shift, it will double-click all the gateways. Or you can just, let's say, like I have this on 1. You can just press Shift, click these, and then press 2 again. See, I got 4. Let's say I want to add this. I just click this, press Shift 1. So adding Shift adds it. And then if you want to get rid of hotkeys, you hold Shift. Take it away. Just click on it. You gotta click it out down here, and then repress Control and press 1. So I'll try that. I'll just do that one more time again for you guys. Let's say I got my main army here. I'm pressing Control and 1 to redo it. Normally, you can also do it as when you're holding Shift, you're just grouping everything. So what I'll do a lot is Control Shift, Control Shift, Control Shift, and then I have everything here. Let's say I didn't want to add these 2 disruptors. I hold Control and Shift, and I'll click them out, and then I'll repress 1, or I will shift them out and then repress Control 1, and they are out of the hotkey, as you can see. Another thing I would like to say to get used to is location hotkeys. I got F1, F2, I didn't do my other ones, but Control F3. These are something you have to reset. They're manually set on Control F5 to Control F9. But location hotkeys make your play a lot cleaner. And when a game starts, you set them, and then it just makes it a lot easier. Almost every single pro has location hotkeys. And it's the thing I didn't do. I was High Masters and Wings of Liberty without these. Some players, I don't think players like End Control even use them today. There are some players who don't use them, but they do make your play a lot cleaner. And it's something that I got into very, very late, and it's something that it really helps. It makes your play a lot cleaner. So things I want you to take away from this video are, it's not that hard to hotkey, and hotkeying is probably, people are like, what build should I do to get better? What should I do to get better? The best thing to do is get your hotkeys down. Your mouse should never enter the bottom right of your screen. You should know that G is, +1 attack, A is +1 armor, shield. Like, you should never, when you're playing, just try to get comfortable never having your mouse enter the bottom right. If your mouse never enters the bottom right of your screen during a game, that is very, very good for you. Now, think about it like, there's a drop, like I said again, like there's a drop, there's things going on. If you have to spend time to go down here, take your attention all down here to click on this, like, it's really bad. It's really bad. You might not realize that, but the small things do add up. And your play will be a lot quicker. So try to learn everything, right? Oracle's E, Phoenix X, Void AV, whatever your keys are. Try to learn every single unit. And also, I will talk about how to warp in, how I warp in my gateways. Finally, this is the final topic I'll talk about. There are people who do rapid fire. I do not. I just hold Shift. Like right now, I'm holding Shift and S, and yeah, I'll just click a lot, I think. God, it's so it's awkward when you don't know. Yeah, I just click a lot, I think, right? No, I think I hold. Oh my God, it's hard when I'm not actually playing, guys. Maybe I hold Control. No, I think well, there's 2 ways to do it. I mean, the worst way to do it is if you're going one at a time like this. You're pressing W again, pressing W again, right? That's not how you should be doing it. You should be, I think. Yeah, I don't know. But it is something, it's W, and then, either hold Shift and just click, or you can, you can just warp in while holding W. I'm supply blocked and stuff like that, but no war grapes gets up. But play with it, go into a custom, spend an hour, spend 2 hours really learning every single, unit, every single ability. Adepts are on H, DTs are on D, +1 attack is G. Try to learn all these things. Adept ability, blink is B. Try to learn everything. Try to make it so your mouse never enters the bottom right. And get comfortable with your hotkeys. Go from, Nexus on 3 or 4 or 5 or wherever you want, and, just look at your keyboard and say, this would make sense for me. This would make sense having my, my armies on the first 3 hotkeys. I can put my main army on 1, my stalkers on 2, my high templars on 3. I got 1, 2, 3, and I can just move around everywhere, right? That would be very, very important and very good to get down, and it will really, really help your StarCraft play. Smooth hotkeys, being good mechanically, is one of the biggest ways to become good at this game. And I hope you learned something from this video and take away something from this video. And nothing comes quickly, guys. You got to practice. You got to work hard at it. And if you just spend a couple hours, maybe a day, really trying to hammer this down, it will really have huge effects in game, guys. It will really have huge effects. So I really recommend getting your hotkeys down and accelerating your path to becoming a better StarCraft player. But as for me, that is all for the video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys will subscribe and like the video. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. See you guys next time.